Hello again, everyone. We are back again. It is Gordon Majak here with another episode of Timeless Pop, Rock, and Soul. Back with part two of our musical celebration, birthday celebration, for a birthday coming up here just in a couple days. One of my all-time favorite musicians, man, right at the top of the list. For me, it is the late, great Terry Kath of Chicago. Terry would have been, I don't know how old he would have been because I can't do that math in my head that fast, but his birthday is coming up here. He would have been, what, 76? Is that how many years that is? 76 or 86? 76. Must have been 76. Born January 31st of 1946. It was Terry Kath of Chicago. Lead vocals, every kind of guitar sound you could think of, and some pretty great compositions as well. We started with the opening salvo there, as it were, from the Chicago Transit Authority album, and we heard Terry's very first song and Chicago's very first song, right? First song on side one of the first record, man, right out of the gate. It was Terry Kath's composition, Introduction, which I maintain really shows the innovative and progressive side of Terry Kath as a musical artist, not just as a vocalist and a guitarist, but just as a musician in his head. And a pretty amazing statement. Well, now we are going to jump from 1969, when Chicago was just starting out and they were full of piss and vinegar and trying to change the world. We're going to jump ahead a couple years to 1972. And this album, man, if this isn't Chicago's best album, I maintain, if this isn't their best, it's got to be number two, right? I mean, what could be better than this? Is CTA better than this? Is Chicago 2 better than this? I think this might be their leanest, meanest, most fightingest album right here. Man, what a record. 1972, this is, of course, Chicago 5. And the reality is that by 1972, through a combination of events involving other artists that had been popular prior to Chicago, like the Beach Boys, I would maintain that by 1972, Chicago had pretty much taken over the American music scene, and they were firmly established as the preeminent American band by that time. And they'd earned it, man. They had gone from Chicago Transit Authority in 1969, a platinum debut. Chicago 2 in 1970, another platinum album. Same for Chicago 3 and the Carnegie Hall album in 71. And by the time they get to 1972 in Chicago 5, they are the number one band, and this is their first number one album, Chicago 5. And since Terry was, after all, the author of their mission statement back there in 69, it seems only natural that he should be the one that should look back at these preceding years there, the 69 to 72 time frame, and all that Chicago had accomplished, which was considerable. They come out of nowhere in 69, and as I said, 72, they are on top of the world, one of the biggest bands of the world, selling out shows all over the world, including the UK and Japan and Europe and South America and just about everywhere else. So Terry Kath took it upon himself to write a song called Alma Mater, a beautiful ballad looking back at these first 5 Chicago albums and the first few years of their career. And that is what we are going to hear right now. From Chicago 5, it is Terry Kath on the lead vocals and on the composition. A beautiful song. You may not even be aware of this if it's a Chicago song, but man, this is one that always stuck in my head. These lyrics always stayed with me all these years later. Quite an introspective and reflective side of Terry Kath, the very personal and intimate side of Terry Kath, and such heartfelt, soulful vocals as always, that you would always expect from Terry Kath. From Chicago 5, it is Alma Mater. Listen to these lyrics.
Looking back
Unbelievable. Those lyrics, wow, those hit me every single time. Obviously autobiographical about Terry and the band and all that they had accomplished and how far they had come between 1969 and that Chicago Transit Authority album, and then those first 4 records coming into 1972 and Chicago 5. And boy, was Terry Kath ever right, because here is where they just blew the top off and were firmly established as not only the #1 American band, but one of the top supergroups in the entire world. I just always thought it was such a beautiful and heartfelt statement by Terry Kath there, reflecting on those first years of Chicago, and there they are. Now they're on top of the mountain. Where are they going to go from here? And as you probably know, they run off a string. This is Chicago 5. They go Chicago 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All are #1 albums, 5 in a row. And it all started right here in 1972. And Terry Kath was there to write about it and sing about it and capture the vibe from inside the band. And I just always thought that was such a touching statement by Terry Kath about that great band. My favorite, man. What a time that was to be a Chicago fan. Just unbelievable. Starting to get choked up already. I don't know what's going to happen here in part 3. But we are going to come back and face the terrible, tragic, sad reality that the greatness that was Terry Kath in Chicago was not destined to continue for all that much longer. But we will look at how it ended and sort of the final statement that Terry Kath and Chicago made together from 1977, just a little bit before his passing in early 1978. We will discuss his passing briefly. I'll tell you a little bit of a personal backstory there, and then we will go out in style with the great Terry Kath and Chicago. Now, why can I not do the math in my head? That's 54 and 22. 76. He would have been 76 years old this week, Terry Kath. And I can't even imagine, as good as he was at the time of his passing, as in 31. He was only 31. And how ridiculously good he was as a guitarist and as a singer. Right out of the gate in 69, it was like he was a fully formed talent that just came out of nowhere and just had this monstrous talent from the very start. But I cannot even imagine, after passing at 31, how good Terry Kath would have been. How much even better would he have become in all these years since then. But we will never know. See you in the third and final chapter of our birthday celebration of the great Terry Kath, my man. I could tell so many stories about Terry Kath. See you, folks. Part 3 coming up.